Wow, I almost can't believe I'm making this video. Jurgen Klopp, the totemic figure that has led Liverpool to their first Premier League title in 30 years and has won other trophies so far in his reign at Liverpool, has announced that he will be stepping down at the end of the season to pursue a quieter role as a family man. Now, when I think of Jurgen Klopp, the amount of superlatives that I've used to describe him over the last maybe 3 or 4 months are incredible. This man is more than just a figure of hope for Liverpool fans. He has turned into a phenomenal manager. And despite the fact that I am a rival fan, I can't help but think of how much the league is going to miss this guy and how much Liverpool fans are probably going to hurt. When you think about the pantheon of managers that Liverpool have had, these hugely mesmeric figures in the past, the likes of Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley, Kenny Dalglish. You think about what they have meant to Liverpool as a whole, and you think about what Jurgen Klopp means to Liverpool now. He is undoubtedly one of those managers. Jurgen Klopp arrived in the Premier League as the normal one, as he christened himself. He took to the Liverpool fans just as fast as they took to him. And he built a team from scratch all the way to a team that won the title with 99 points, only bettered so far by Pep Guardiola's 100 points, as the Centurions of City would affectionately call it. Jurgen Klopp came into the league with Antonio Conte and Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho as well, and Arsene Wenger, managers whose prestige, preceded them. Jurgen Klopp was also very successful in his time in Germany as the last person to have taken a title away from Bayern Munich. So the pedigree was already there. But I don't think most people realize just how special this man was when he transitioned from Mainz in Germany to Dortmund and to Liverpool. Liverpool was a team that had scratched the surface a few times, but there was a glass ceiling that was unable for them to break for such a long time. Liverpool had been bridesmaids to the champions a number of times. They had finished second to Arsenal during Arsene Wenger's first trophy-laden 8 years, and then Liverpool also finished second to Manchester United, I believe, in the 2008-2009 season, and then they also finished second to Manchester City. So Liverpool were not too far away from getting a title. But by the time he joined, Liverpool were going through a rough patch. Brendan Rodgers had almost lost the dressing room at the time. And the thing was that Liverpool needed, as I call it all the time, a messianic figure and somebody who would propel them beyond that glass ceiling that they had hit a few times. Now, Liverpool have always been a team that is so special in the English game. Liverpool are a team that transcend just the game of football. Liverpool is a truly world team. And when you look at the fact that this great team had gone 30 years without a league title, especially after the lightning pace that they had set in the 70s and in the 80s, they needed somebody to come in and become Liverpool. And whether it was fortuitous, whether it was serendipitous, they ended up getting Jurgen Klopp, a manager who I don't think Liverpool could have found somebody much more attuned to the role that he was going to assume. And so he embarked on this journey, and he made use of players who you would think of right now as people who would never make it into his team. He inherited some players who right now you would think about and say, how did this man inherit this team? And eventually he brought in the likes of Salah and Mane, Firmino, and he began his rise up the table. And his reign at Liverpool has not been without its problems. You can think about some of the defensive issues that they had and the setbacks that they faced in the beginning of his reign. They lost the Europa League final to Sevilla, I believe, in 2016. And, they had to struggle to get into the Champions League. They overcame Arsene Wenger, and that was pretty much the beginning of the end for the iconic Arsenal manager. They didn't make it into the top four, and that was pretty much the sign that he needed to call it quits. But he managed to get Liverpool over the line. And then he embarked on creating this team that would challenge, the present day behemoths of Manchester City over and over again. That's where I think Jurgen Klopp's legacy gets its wings. Because in challenging Manchester City over the last few years, you think about the rivals that Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson were during the time that Arsenal and Manchester United were number one and number two in the league. And you can pretty much liken Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp's rivalry to that, because Manchester City are the dominant side right now. And during the time of Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger, Manchester United were the dominant side. And his ability to continuously get his team up for, in my opinion, the highest quality title challenges, because you think about what they managed to do in the season that he pushed Pep Guardiola to 98 points, and he achieved 97. And then you think about him pushing Pep Guardiola again from 91 points to City's 92. And you think about just how incredibly difficult that has to be and how intense you have to be with your team to get them up to those levels that undoubtedly Pep Guardiola had gotten his team to. And I'm pretty sure Pep Guardiola would sit back and think to himself that he is losing a competitor. When you look at the Cristiano and the Messi rivalry, those two pushed each other to unbelievable lengths. And so I tried to give all these examples to let you know just how phenomenal Jurgen Klopp is. His ability to inspire his team over and over again is something that is remarkable. And so I understand why he feels as though his engine is slowing down and he might be running on empty. And of course, you look at Guardiola, he had to take a sabbatical after his time at Barcelona. And then he went to Bayern Munich, took a little break as well. But you think about Jurgen Klopp, and he has not had that ability to take that break, at least not for what he has wanted to take that break for. And so I sit here and I applaud a manager who not only I wished to lose each and every game because of how good he was, but that tells you the measure of the man, that rival fans are cheering for his departure. But I would like to say that I'm not cheering for his departure. And I would call anyone who is happy at him leaving not a true fan of football. Now, something that I have been telling people in private, and I'm going to now say it on video, is that if Arsenal don't win the title during the Pep Guardiola and the Jurgen Klopp era, I won't count any title that the Cronkies deliver as being worth it. And the reason why I say that is because if you want to test yourself against the best, you have to beat the best. And so during the time that both of these managers have been in the league at the same time, only Antonio Conte has done that. And that was during the first season of Pep Guardiola's reign at Manchester City. And the difference is that Conte also inherited a pretty good team from Chelsea, and they just needed a manager who would rev them up and get them up. Chelsea were the dominant force at that period. They won 2 out of 3 titles during that period. Jose Mourinho was dismissed, but he had done a phenomenal job in building that Chelsea team at that moment. And so I talk about this in the vein of, I know Arsenal are gearing up to win a title. You can look at the way their team is set up, and you do have this feeling that they will break that glass ceiling that they themselves have had. It might take 2 or 3 years. It might be this season, but there is no trophy that would be much more celebrated in my heart than if it was achieved during the Pep and the Jurgen Klopp era, because that's how good these two managers have been. So good that no one else has broken the stranglehold that they've had on the league for the last 6 or 7 years. And so as we bid goodbye to Jurgen Klopp, one of the most outstanding managers in the history of the English game, I would like to thank him personally for entertaining us and wowing us with a style of football that I've not seen in my lifetime. You know, we have heard about Pep Guardiola being from the school of Johan Cruyff. You know, we've seen Jose Mourinho adopting the style from the Italians with a very good defensive core and a very potent attack. And we've seen Arsene Wenger's beautiful football before from the Arrigo Sacchi's AC Milan team from the 80s. But very few can describe what Jurgen Klopp has given us in his high energy, heavy metal football. Organized chaos, they call it. This man has been able to entertain us now in the English league and in the German league, and he needs time to go and rest. And so for the Liverpool fans who embody everything that Jurgen Klopp is, I feel your pain, but I do want to tell you guys that this man deserves his rest. And if he wants to go and take a few years out of the game, let him go and take some few years out of the game. I don't think this discounts him from ever coming back. And I'm pretty sure if Liverpool will be in heavy need, he will probably show back up. He said as much that he would not manage another team in England again. And that's testament to how good Liverpool are. I did not realize just how Liverpool fans embody the whole "you'll never walk alone" moniker, a logo, motto, tag, whatever you'd like to call it. Because when I started this channel, some of the biggest support that I've ever had is from Liverpool fans. And so when you see what Liverpool means to the rest of the world and what they mean to the footballing community at large, and how they were able to welcome Jurgen Klopp and how he also took them to his own heart, it's absolutely phenomenal. The Liverpool are the same type of team that I think Barcelona are in their league, in the sense of that they are more than just a football club. And Liverpool fans are some of the best people to have conversations with when it comes to football. And so as your manager departs, I would like to say that I wouldn't respect any competitor, any worthy competitor, if they cheer the fact that Jurgen Klopp is leaving the league. Now, this era might not be remembered as much for Jurgen Klopp winning the Premier League. Manchester City are the dominant side, but one thing that I will like to say, and this is an analogy, I love giving analogies. When you look at something like the Billboard charts, right? I talk about music too. I have a music channel, but I haven't posted in there for a while. When you look at the Billboard charts, there are some songs that you can see as being dominant, you know, a song that might have 10 weeks at number one or 15 weeks at number one. But every once in a while, you will find that in the dominance that that song has, there is yet another song that is probably equally as popular, but just doesn't have the dominant reign that the other song does. And so they might hit number one for a week or two and then dip back down to number two. And there are a couple of songs that have that record. I can remember this song by Kid Laroi, the Stay song, that spent 14 weeks at number two and only popped in for a couple of weeks at number one. But that song will always be in the history of the Billboard charts as having been a number one song. But I would like to liken Jurgen Klopp to something like that. Jurgen Klopp is just as phenomenal as Pep Guardiola, and he can rival him as one of the best managers of the last 20 or so odd years. You know, some people will give you Jose Mourinho and they'll give you Pep Guardiola, but Jurgen Klopp is definitely part of that list. And so I say it again, if you're not a competitor, then enjoy Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool, because the void that he's going to leave there might make you feel as though your team is going to be able to compete for the Premier League now. But I sit here saying, as I said before, that if Arsenal do not win a league title with Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp in the same league, it doesn't have the same oomph, doesn't have the same energy that I would enjoy it with. And that's because these two are elite. They are at the top of the game. And if you're able to topple them in whichever way you're able to, then you are amongst the elite. Anyway, guys, it's been your boy Izzy. I wanted to give a little conversation about Jurgen Klopp, somebody who I admire a lot, but over the years I've loved to see when he loses, and that's pretty much because of the utmost respect that I have for him. And I at times used to ridicule his fist bumps at the end, and when they didn't win, I'd be like, where's his fist bumps? Where's the yeah, yeah, yeah? Or when he'd get angry at the touchline in the 7-2 loss to Aston Villa, or when they lost to Wolverhampton 3-0, or when they lost this season to Tottenham. But it's ultimately because when somebody's that good, you have to relish in the very few moments that they don't show their invincibility. Jurgen Klopp is phenomenal. But anyway, this long soliloquy is over. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for listening to my ramblings about Jurgen Klopp. And until the next time, peace.